Alright, let's get started with part 4. It's now time to select the weapon you're going to use for this projectile system. For the weapon, we have to make sure we group it properly with the puppet. First, we make sure the weapon doesn't collide with the player. If weapons collide with the player, you will have major problems down the line. To test this, place your weapon inside the puppet and unpause the scene. If your puppet moves something like this, then we definitely have a collision problem. Fix this by opening the sculpture's menu and going to collision labels. If you watched the first video, you know that we labeled our puppet friend. So if we turn off the friend label in the collision labels, it won't collide with the player. Now place the weapon inside the puppet again and unpause the scene to see if they collide. If nothing happens, you're ready to move on. If it does the same thing, I recommend scoping into each individual sculpt and turning off the friend label or the collidable button. Next, let's group the weapon with the puppet's hand. Now let me say this. If you guys don't want to group the weapon with the puppet, I recommend watching my easy weapon equip and unequip system tutorial. However, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to group the weapon with the hand. Now reset the scene, grab your weapon, and hold it over the puppet. While holding the weapon, press L1 and X to scope into the puppet. Continue holding the weapon and scope into the hand you want the weapon to be in. Since the aim camera is going to the right of the puppet, I'm going to group the weapon with the right hand. If everything looks okay, let's animate the arm and body to move with the camera. Get out a timeline and stamp it in the microchip. Open it and place a keyframe at the beginning of the timeline. Edit the keyframe and animate the arm at a 90-degree angle. It would be best if you use a precise move tool for accuracy. Now, once the arm is at a 90-degree angle, move the arm over towards the crosshair at about 7 to 10 degrees. Basically, whatever arm your weapon is attached to, move it towards the center of the screen at about 7 to 10 degrees. This will give the illusion that the player is shooting towards the reticle. I'm moving my arm over 9 degrees. After doing that, we'll have to animate the puppet looking up. Note that the position you set your puppet in right now will change in a few. We just need a starting point. The main parts you'll want to move are the torso and arms. Here are the numbers on how far I moved the body parts so far using the precise tool. Well, wait. How are you supposed to know what the arrows are for? Don't worry, I got you. When I make adjustments, I'm going to face the front of the puppet. The up arrow means I'm moving the puppet backwards. The down arrows means I'm going to move the puppet forwards. And the left and right arrows are exactly that, me moving the puppet either left or right. The numbers beside the arrows are how much I move the body parts in degrees. So if the arrow is pointing up and beside it is the number 9, I'm going to move the puppet backwards 9 degrees with the precise move tool. I hope this isn't too complicated to understand. Now, after getting your desired position, let's animate the puppet to look down. Get out another keyframe and place it at the end of the timeline. Edit that keyframe and position the arm at a 90-degree angle, same as before. Now position the body towards the ground. Here are my numbers for how far I moved the puppet's parts using the Precise Move tool once again. When you're done, go in between the two keyframes in your timeline. If a green rectangle shows up, your keyframes are lined up, which is what you want. While hovering over the green space, press L1 and X once to change to a blend type. It should be a straight diagonal line as shown. If it shows any other lines such as these, keep pressing L1 and X until you get to the straight diagonal line. Now connect the button you press to aim, or in my case, the result port of the calculator, into the power port of the timeline. Now go over to the camera rig and open up the bottom cube's microchip. In the bottom right hand corner, you will see a calculator with the division symbol on it. Take the result port of that calculator and bring it over towards the puppet. On the timeline, find the playhead. It should look like this. On the bottom of the playhead, you will see the two arrows facing left and right. This is where we'll connect the result port of the calculator from the camera rig. Simply hover over that and connect it. One more thing before we test this. Go to the ends of the timeline until you see arrows connected by a line. This means we can resize the canvas. Simply move the left side in to the right and the right side in to the left. This will prevent the look animation from messing up. Whew, wow, that was a lot. Let's test this in play mode, shall we? It's not quite what I'm looking for. The puppet doesn't move far enough into the position when looking up or down. This process can take a bit of tweaking. The best way to do this is to tweak one part bit by bit. So if the puppet isn't looking up or down far enough, I'll focus on looking up first. And when that's done, I'll then focus on looking down. I recommend doing what you feel is right. Different weapons might have different measurements, so don't be afraid to experiment. Here are the tweaks I made to the body parts starting from the last measurements I gave you. Now go into play mode and aim where you think the center position of the aim should be. Then go into edit mode without resetting the scene to see where the playhead is on your timeline. Wherever that is, place a keyframe there and animate the arm to be at 85 degrees. Now, make sure you blend this keyframe with the last one. Now go into play mode and make sure the puppet aims at the center of the screen. It doesn't have to be perfect, but make sure it's close. You might have to do some adjusting to all three keyframes to get the best possible look. And I think this might be it. Let's see. Wow, man, this is coming together nicely. I hope yours is too. Don't be discouraged if yours doesn't look exactly like mine. All it takes is a bit of tweaking. It'll come out nicely eventually. There was a lot of information in this episode, so I really hope I didn't overwhelm you. I really hope you come back for the next episode in this series. If you have any questions or concerns, Be sure to let me know in the comment section. Till next time, y'all.